So today is March 29th. It is the last Sunday in March. This is not the day that Nipsey Hussle was killed. However, Nipsey was killed on the last day of March, even though it wasn't the 29th. I want to do this video because I want to talk about two wasted opportunities, two wasted opportunities I had to talk with Nip, to collaborate with him, to even see what he was just about. In 2009, 2010, I was doing gang intervention working for the city of Los Angeles. And I came in contact with, well, I needed to come in contact with Nip's manager at the time, a guy I've been working with. So when I found him, he was working with Nip at the time, right? So I was introduced to Nip then, but people have been saying he was the next Tupac, he was the next greatest rapper gonna come out the city of LA. And I didn't see it, man. What I saw was the skinny dude with the braids, the hair, the hat, the S hat, So I was just thinking, man, rolling 60s. I needed to talk about the business that I was, want to talk about. And I kind of, shook hands like, oh, okay, what's up, Nip? I'm Skipp, whatever, and moved on. And I didn't stop and take the opportunity to see where his mind was, to talk to him, to build a relationship, to even, see what he was about. That's my focus, because I was focused. I was one-sided. I had tunnel vision. I was stopping the violence in the community. I was grassroots, boots on the ground, and I didn't have time, in my opinion, to do that. I wasn't into music anymore. I wasn't definitely into rap. So I missed an opportunity there based on my tunnel vision and also my judging a book by its cover, not knowing who he would become, not knowing how influential he'd be in the community. So in 2012, Trayvon Martin was killed. I think it was February 2012. And 2014, well, let me go back. In 2013, about 14 months after Trayvon Martin was killed, Trayvon Jackson was killed on Hyde Park and 4th Ave. So in 2014, Trayvon Martin's family came to Crenshaw High School somewhere around the summer, like July. And when they came to Crenshaw High School, I'm not going to lie, I was in my feelings because, there were so many other people who had been killed in the city of LA. There had been so many other families who had been horrified by the murder of their children, and they didn't get the national recognition that Trayvon Martin's family got or his case got. So no hate or disrespect. I think that his life shouldn't have been taken. But what happened was, I was thinking, well, what about Trayvon Jackson's family? What about Lionel Whiteside? What about all the other people? What about I could just name hundreds of people who were killed. Stephen Eugene Washington and lots of others, right? And their family didn't get that recognition. So what I wanted to do was I wanted to highlight the people in LA, and they didn't give me an opportunity. I wasn't chosen to be on that panel. There was a panel at Crenshaw High School, and they chose Nipsey Hussle to be on that panel. So once again, here's an opportunity. I think Kobe Bryant showed up. A whole lot of different celebrities showed up, and they showed up because it was Trayvon Martin's family. And once again, I'm thinking, man, why isn't it more people grassroots? And Nipsey Hussle at the time, he was, the up and coming rapper, but he wasn't in the streets, going to different meetings, stopping the gang violence, walking through the Rolling 40s, walking through the Blackstones. Even though he did, he did a lot of stuff. He was in different neighborhoods or whatever. He wasn't out there doing the work that myself and others who I would see out there was doing. So when I saw him again in 2014, once again it was high and by. It was, hey, what's going on, man? Good to see you, and keep moving. And I think that that's twice that I wasted an opportunity to dialogue, to find out who he was, to build a relationship, to see if we could collaborate, to see if he could help me, to see if I could help him, to see what direction was he moving in. I had no idea about the stuff Nipsey Hussle was doing until after he died. I talked to the council member, Marquise Harris Dawson, and he told me how hard it was for Nip to get the land, to purchase the land that he had. Not because of the money, but because of who he was and how the city didn't want to do it. Also learned why he used an investor instead of his own money. Why was he partnering with investors? He was a major influence in the community, a major influence in the city of LA, and I wasted two opportunities to actually sit down and collaborate or talk to him. Not based on Crip and Blood, but just based on what my interpretation of the work was and what I believe should have happened. What's so ironic about that is after Nipsey was killed, Latanya Ward, fuck off, from Blackstones, her and Little AD put together the biggest peace agreement after that. She called AD. AD called Big U, Bear Claw. She called Bop, and then she called me. And I was able to bring Tiny Blue and Iceman from Rolling 40s to the table. But when they came to the table, I learned my lesson because I was sitting back and I'm sitting there watching them talk. And Big U from 60s came in and I said, well, man, they over there talking. And well, I told Big U they was over there talking, and he said, nah, they got it, they cool. I said, you not going over there? He's like, nah, they straight. And that taught me a lesson that I should have learned in 2014. That I got a lot to say, I got a lot of experience, but it was time for the young people. It was time for the new generation to take over and build their own peace agreements and do their own conversations. And I would look at it like, if you got somebody like myself and Big U sitting at the table, we should be facilitating that meeting. We should be making sure of this, that, and the other. And he said, nah, let them do their thing. So I just want to give a shout out to Nip, Neighborhood Nip, on the last Sunday of March, the day that he was murdered. Even though it wasn't on the 29th, it was on the last Sunday of March, that I missed opportunities to find out who he was. I didn't find out till afterwards. And it was because of his death that led people to come together and start talking. And I think 2019 was the biggest year ever for having sit-downs and peace agreements. They didn't all stem from Nipsey's death, but the conversation generated from there. So in closing, I want to, shout out once again Latanya, Little AD, Bear Claw, Big U, Tiny Blue, Iceman, Donut, Pokey, Scooby from 40s, all the Rolling 60s who came to the table, all the different people who came around because of that, even Boogaloo, Boogie out of Compton. He did the same thing in Compton, him and Kenzo. He got together with his big homie Kenzo, and Kenzo was with it, and they put together different things that was going on in Compton that made the LA Times, man. So I'm proud of that young dude, Lawrence, call him Boogie. Just all the people who came together after Nipsey's death. We got to make sure that we keep coming together. We got to keep this going. The marathon must continue, and it's up to all of us. I wasted two opportunities, but I guarantee you I won't waste any more.